Hello, everyone, and welcome to round two of the 2022 United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships. This PDGA major is taking place over in Milford, Michigan, thanks to our presenting sponsors in Discraft. Excited to bring you guys the action. Thank you to Gatekeeper, one of the partners along with the Disc Golf Guide channel here for this coverage. And I'm joined again by West Shinevar, Team Stamp West. Man, it must not have been too bad. You're coming back, buddy.
Yeah, had a lot of fun round one. Looking to do it again.
All right, and we're taking a look at our leaders in Ilkin, Groh, and Zachary, Tesone, Paul Krans, and David O'Meara. These are some newer players that we don't necessarily know much about, so thankfully we caught up with them. Here's a little introduction to them.
My name is Ilkin Groh. I'm PDGA number 145831, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I love the competition. The bigger the tournament, the more exciting it was to me, and I wanted to be playing the best whenever I could. My mom is awesome. She's great. She's taking care of all my 5 younger siblings at home, so definitely shout out to her. She's amazing. All my siblings are great. They all play disc golf with me, and obviously shout out to my dad over here, driving me over here, hanging with me, and just making sure I keep my mind straight on everything.
My name is Zachary Tesone. My PDGA number is 153146, and I'm from Princeton, New Jersey. So I've been an Ultimate player for 13, 14 years. Took an Ultimate disc to a local disc golf course, started playing around, tried my hand at a couple tournaments, and kind of got hooked from there. Big shout out to Mercer County Disc Golf Club. They were the ones who originally got me into playing tournaments and kind of sucked me into the competitive aspect of disc golf. Shout out to Bria Disc Golf for sponsoring me, and Valley Forge Disc Golf.
My name is Paul Krans. My PDGA number is 132521. I'm from Dudley, Massachusetts. My friend introduced me to Ultimate Frisbee 3 months after. Someone told me about disc golf, and then I got addicted. I'd love to go on tour someday, get a van and travel the world. This is the first big tournament I've traveled to. I've never traveled outside of New England, honestly. I've enjoyed every part of it. I'd like to shout out Disc Golf 978. They help support me for this tournament. I'd like to shout out every single one of my friends and family that are supporting me back home. I've been getting a lot of messages, and I appreciate every single one of them.
My name is David O'Meara, PDGA number 66276, and I'm from Indianola, Iowa. Started maybe 9 years ago. Just my dad played, so I just came out with him a few times. We want to win the collegiate title at Iowa State. We got second this past year. I want to play on the Pro Tour more. I got to play on it once last year, and I really liked it, so I'd like to play more next year and years to come. I'll give a shout out to Judd, Max, Noah, and Reese. They're bad at disc golf. Give a shout out to my girlfriend Emma, my sister Anastasia, and my parents.
And Wes, so great to hear. Very, very young crowd. We'll talk about it often, but Ilkin and Paul, 2 days apart in terms of their birthday, and they're both 17. So incredible young talent as we're taking a look at the Toboggan hole one.
Yeah, hole one, 516 feet coming down the hill. These guys are on the lead card of a PDGA major. This is going to be their first shot coming off the tees. Let's see how they handle it. Forehand from Ilkin. It looks like it comes up a little early. He's going to be short right, and that's going to be a tough position from behind the trees there.
Second here is Zachary. So many of our players, we hear a little bit of that ultimate influence. Zachary saying that he's played for more than a dozen years and now has joined us over with a slightly slower sport in terms of disc golf. Good forehand off the tee. Here's Paul. As I said, just 17.
Okay, one of the great parts about these AM majors is that we get to see some of the up-and-coming talent, and I really think of past winners of this event and what they have blossomed into on the Pro Tour, and a lot of them making a name for themselves there too.
And David talked about how Iowa State came up second at the collegiate championships. So, he's out here. He's been a longtime competitor, introduced to disc golf from his dad. And in fact, at one point during the round, he said to me, "Hey, do you have footage of me from 2017 at Am Worlds?" I'm like, "Yeah, somewhere." It's on a hard drive as Ilkin's trying to push out. And it looks like he's got to the edge of the wood, so that I'll at least give him a look. Here's David with a little forehand chip.
Oh, and giving it a run.
Trying to create some fireworks here.
We see hole 1 playing just over par at 3.12. So it does present a little bit of difficulty, but a large percentage of our competitors getting their pars on this hole. Zach with a really good bid, just a little bit short.
So able to get all the way to the outskirts of the woods. Ilkin gonna walk away with a par.
What an
That's a
incredible scramble
solid
shot.
Yeah, I was just saying that. An incredible scramble.
And a good cleanup from Paul. I just always think about shaking those nerves off on the first hole. These guys are looking to get their par on the first one and then get to attacking the course from there.
Yeah, and if any of them have any nerves, they've certainly hid them very well here on hole 1. In fact, David almost taking the long birdie. No harm, no foul. They move over to hole number 2. What are they doing here?
Yeah, 680 feet. We are climbing up this hill, which, as you're standing at the base, is quite a task. These guys are going to be looking to get to the flat at the bottom of the hill, or even chew off some of that elevation to make their second shot a little bit shorter to get up here onto the flat. And I imagine lead card, these guys are probably looking to get a 3 on this hole.
Certainly no shortage of distance from these competitors. Like you said, may have led to their lead card placement after round 1 and fighting through. Ilkin will be on that right side.
Wow, he's chewed off a good bit of that hill, though, so that'll make his second shot a lot easier for him. Zach looking to follow a similar line. He comes up a little bit shorter right.
And there's some clearly smaller stature there, but I feel like Paul, I see a little like Will Schusterick influence in some of that run up, which has always been known as some really great driving form.
Yeah, he's got a really compact, strong form. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Paul Macbeth as well, who is not a really tall, lanky guy, but just has a really compact, powerful form.
And I feel as if this was an intentional play, not to put himself too far up on the hillside so that he have the flat run up and then try and bite off as much as he could on the second shot. And David, most of the hill is climbed there. He'll have a look at the basket, albeit a long one.
Yeah, Zach, we've seen he has a strong forehand from hole 1 there, and he'll chew off a good bit. Was probably a little cut off with the low ceiling on that right side, but he makes good progress there.
And we speak so often of the awkward footing that's found, usually throwing up the hills here on a number of holes, almost half the course when it's all said and done. So it's something that players, if they didn't get dialed in or get used to in round 1, well, they've got their second chance here. And it doesn't get easier. You just got to learn to adapt.
Yeah, you can see even from the camera angle here with Ilkin cutting off some of that distance on his drive, has just a little bit flatter look on his second shot there, and he makes a good throw.
And that should be a routine par for Zach.
And a nice up from Paul. I am a little surprised to see hole 2 is playing at 0.44 over par. Obviously some difficulties when you get left and right, which we've talked about a little bit, but all of these guys have navigated this hole really well.
Ilkin with the look at birdie and just off the mark.
Good putt from Paul to clean up his par.
Another beautiful day out here at the Toboggan course. I know we talk about usually feeling the July heat and humidity, and knock on wood, through the first round and a half or so, or in the first 2 rounds, very moderate conditions. Light winds, almost no wind at some point, and the humidity is low. So really, really nice day out here at the Toboggan. Not much action on that flag there in the background as they head over to hole number 3, the downhill.
Yeah, we're going back downhill 915 feet, but it's going to play a lot shorter than that coming down this old toboggan hill here. Players are going to be looking to get into the short grass here in the flat and then have a fairly straight shot up to the pin. They'll have some options if they get themselves in the middle of the fairway at the bottom there. Ilkin going with a high shot out of his hand. And it does fight through. That's very fortunate. You can get into some trouble on that right side.
Yeah, and a unique feature we were hearing in the background there was the pair of spotters that are actually working this hole using radios to kind of talk back and forth as to which way a disc is heading and then ultimately where it lands and if it's been spotted. It's incredible teamwork, and thank you to the huge staff and crew that's out here locally that'll put on this PDGA major. It is a massive effort.
See Paul going with something that turns over. That's going to need to fight out. He'll find himself on that right side.
And the spotter will head in. Their job's not easy on many of the holes out here this weekend. And this looks like it's ultimately going to fade back to the left side. Now, as it's carrying over there, that's actually what hole 14's fairway. And if you get over there far enough, you're going to be, I guess, rewarded with the short grass. That'll give your run up a little bit easier, as we're seeing.
Yeah, I almost
right
wonder
side.
if David was playing for that. You know, it almost seemed maybe like he was going for as much distance as he could and get over there to the flat on the left to have that little bit more even shot coming across. Obviously, a guy who's got some distance to work with.
Yeah, and I feel like we see some of that on 17, where if you miss your line on a hole like 17, you just hope it pushes far enough left that you will be then rewarded with short grass, even though you have a longer throw. So there is something to be said about that. And we're playing this with no OBs on the course. So similar, or very different, I should say, to what we see when the Disc Golf Pro Tour comes to town.
And Zach going with that forehand again, and he's going to be short and left. He will be able to see the basket, though, so he'll be able to give that a bid if he wants to. See
And
David.
Yeah, you were just going to say from the short grass. I was standing in the long grass to kind of give you perspective. A considerable difference when you're looking at the run-up between those two different positions.
Yeah, he just had a pretty routine hyzer from over there and does really well with it to get himself inside the circle.
I think you've nailed his strategy because it certainly worked out. Now here's Ilkin with a long look for birdie.
And a good bid. We see Ilkin going with that stepper that a lot more players are going with these days. Gives you a little bit more momentum at the basket. Oh, and Zach almost dials it up from the rough. Great attempt.
Literally just inches short. And right on the pole for Paul. He's going to walk away with the bogey, but confident putting stroke. Look good.
Yeah, we do see a little bit of wind from those flanners in the back there. David won't be too happy with that one. He's probably expecting the wind to do a little bit more there.
Everything we've seen out of our players in the first couple of holes, that certainly shocked me to see him not draw metal from short range. A little, maybe just a mental lapse, or like you said, could have misjudged some of the breeze or the wind. And that one is confident, firm, right on the pole. You like to see him come back, although he's going to walk away with the par. Hopefully take a little confidence into the next putting green, and Ilkin will tap in for the par. And 915 feet, one of the longest holes on the entire course.
Yeah, this one played right about par, so a good hole the way it's laid out.
Now we head over to hole 4, 580. Plenty of danger here.
Yeah, 580. Players are really going to want to miss this middle pine tree right here. That's a common area to hit and collect. You want to get past that and give yourself a look at this hillside up into the green. We talked about it a little bit last round, but players are going to want to kind of hit that dirt, that hard pack, and scoot up because this basket is right on a knoll.
And from the tee, it's very difficult to tell just how good your shot is or which tree it may have hit and if it's filtered through or not. Oh, and the hat catch. Style points for sure. I think there's already been a couple of those, but even more impressive is the result of that throw. What a shot.
Drive. He's going to have a really good look up from there. David going with the backhand as well.
And just when you think Zach's is great, David says, yeah, I've got even more on it. That you couldn't really place a better tee shot, could you?
No, he'll be looking straight at that hallway. He'll have some options on what he wants to do from there. Incredible. Paul with a good drive as well. These guys are showing why they're on the lead card.
It's a mild contemplation, brings Ilkin to this spot, and unfortunately hits the one tree he needed to beat. It had a good line, looked like it had the right height. Just was a matter of squaring up with that tree, and now he's put himself at least inside the circle to walk away with the par.
Yeah, those shots are always tough. You're looking at that one tree thinking all I got to do is avoid that one tree, and then your mind gets kind of sucked into it.
And we spoke of it during round one as well, that the play come up just a little bit short. As you said, hit that hard pan there and maybe have it skip up to the pin, and that's exactly what we see. I believe that's a zone thrown there by Zach. Nice and gentle, coming in short, playing right up to the pin.
Wow, and look at this position. You cannot put it in a better place, just as you said. Oh, and I think he'll be a little disappointed with that effort. He's looking pretty clear up that hill.
Yeah, I'd go almost as far as saying being very disappointed, unfortunately. I mean, that drive just could not be better. And so now he's got to work for the birdie. We see Paul's effort come up short. Easy to be tentative on this green.
Absolutely. Easy to be tentative, but you also really have to commit. We've talked about the danger of rollaways on this one, so you really got to make sure you're catching heavy chains. Oh, and it does sit.
I feel the pain, David. Well, I don't usually throw tee shots that are that good, but I feel the pain of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, this hole was playing just under par. We see a lot of our competitors getting par on this one, but also a good number of birdies on this one. So it's definitely one that these guys on the lead card probably wanted to get a birdie or two between them.
And to extend his lead to 2 strokes, Zach taps in for the birdie. Very well played. We're going to head over to the beautiful hole number 5.
Hole number 5 featuring the green carpet this year, 480 feet. You are going downhill, so it's going to play a little bit shorter, but you have danger left and right on this one. If players can get their drive kind of down to this right side downed log, that gets you just about pin high inside the circle and gives you a look for the 2.
And a very favorable kick as that was heading hard toward the left side. Kicks him out near fairway's edge. So hopefully that gives him a look to be able to get up and down from there. And David pulls that one hard.
Oh no.
Kicking from right to left. I think he's going to be in trouble over there. Here's Paul. We'll see if he can center up the fairway.
Well, this turns over a little bit on him too, but also gets a very favorable kick back into the fairway.
That's at least a 10-10 rated kick there. That was very, very favorable. He'll take it. Ilkin is basket hunting.
Oh my goodness.
Narrowly misses it, and he carries, because of the downhill slope, carries outside of the circle, so he'll still have a look. You see he's about 42 or maybe 45 feet, but what a drive.
Yeah, he drew that one up perfectly. Hole 5 here is playing as the 5th most difficult hole at 0.41 over par. I think that's probably both a mix of the challenge of the fairway shape, but also some of the distance too. And a good upshot from Zach there.
Yeah, and at 480, so many of our players have no problem being able to get that distance downhill. It's just a matter of keeping it on line the whole way. And then David finds something in the ceiling and knocks him straight down. So hole 5, not doing him any favors. See if Paul can have the easy up and down after the kick he got. That'll curl to 18 or 20 feet.
Yeah, we did see, it looks like 14 birdies on this hole throughout the day, so a good number of birdies for how difficult this hole is. Oh. Ilkin just off the mark there.
Part of the reason I panned to that, noticing quite a few mixed bags. And I know that someone like Zach here is a little bit newer to the game, although he's got that extensive ultimate career behind him. But very, very mixed bag by a number of these lead card competitors. You got to wonder as they move into their more professional careers if ultimately that will change and adapt, I'm sure.
Yeah, we see Ilkin is very confident on those comeback putts. He makes pretty quick work of them.
Yeah, he is a methodical player. I'm not going to say that he often exceeds 30 seconds, but he is a methodical player, especially on the tee. And his initial putts are always relatively quick, or I'm sorry, a little bit slower. And then when he has those comebackers, he just gets up and fires them in. It seems as if that's just part of his overall routine. It's very interesting.
See David looking to clean this one up for a double bogey.
And I can't say enough after seeing Paul now through the first few holes, just how confident he is from that middle to short range. And you think, well, yeah, those are obvious. Those are short putts, but just on the pole every single time with a good amount of speed. So confident putter as we move over to 6.
Yeah, hole 6, the challenge off the tee is really a difficult angle that you're not used to get up into this landing zone, and then you're throwing across this ravine here to a relatively small green that slopes on all sides. You want to really try and get something slow coming into that one. And we see Zach go with that steep angle that you need here. Cuts out on him a little bit, but he's in a good spot there. And Paul just draws it up through the middle of the fairway. I feel like you really see a mix of two tee shots on this. You see people that really take the forced over anhyzer, then players that kind of let the disc do the work and ride to the right for them.
I think you just perfectly explained what we saw there from Ilkin. Relatively soft. That looked like it was about 40% power. Just getting it to get up, turn over, and then fade to the right side. And I think that the big takeaway from this hole is the fact that you're not throwing max power on the first shot. In fact, you're just playing for that position. You see 3 out of our 4 players all within a few feet of each other as David throws a near perfect forehand.
Wow. Yeah, course designers like to call this one a change of pace hole. You get so used to throwing drivers and big drives that, this hole really the best play is to not throw your fastest disc if you want to get in the ideal placement, and so it challenges the players in a different way than some of the other holes do.
This is also a part of the redesign we saw just a couple years ago when ultimately redoing holes 5 and 6.
Paul goes with the forehand. It lands nice and soft, and he'll have a great look at the basket from there.
That's going to make it to the green side of the gully, but still long look for a birdie from there at best.
Yeah, he'll have to make a choice there on whether he wants to lay that one up or run it. Ilkin with a really great approach there. Gets something to come in and land soft and flat. Wow, and Zach nearly dials that one up from the base of the gully.
And Ilkin had very quickly actually gone up and putt in. I'm not sure I was even fully ready for it. So he'll walk away with the par. Some solid scrambling there. David hits basket. And so missed opportunity for birdie.
And a very confident putt from Paul, just like you had mentioned on the last hole. It really seems to be a strong suit for him.
It is. I think about those 20, 25 footers where sometimes you might be a little bit tentative or you're getting excited thinking about picking up one of the rare birdies out on this course. And his putt is so repeatable for him. Also been very impressed with what we're seeing out of our leader here in Zach. Always going through his routine. And certainly a much loftier putt than what we just see from Paul, for instance. But it continues to work. As we head over to hole number 7.
Yeah, hole 7, 667 feet. Players are going to look to get across the low-lying part of the fairway onto the flat here and have a look through this hallway at the basket. This basket, again, does sit on a little bit of a rise, which makes the approach a little bit more difficult. The more you can chew off on the drive, the easier that second shot is.
Spotter will go hunt it down, pulled to the right side. He may have to exhaust his stroke just to get back out to the fairway. I'm not sure he'll have much of a look. Here's Zach, and this looks like exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal drive from Zach. He just rests on the flat there, and he'll have a nice even look to the basket from there.
When throwing a good tee shot on this hole, you're then rewarded with options of forehand or backhand to the green, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Yeah, and distance really an advantage here. Getting yourself across to that flat. You see the shot hyzer out a little bit early from Ilkin. It looks like it's just enough left. He'll still have a line to the green from there.
Yeah, and you bring up such a great point about getting at least to the top of the hill. If you come up short or left like this, you're going to have to scramble. You're going to have to come up with some more challenging angles. But if you can get to the top of the hill, anywhere on the top of the hill, it's going to be so much easier to attack the basket. And here's Paul from the right side. And he's got a lane, which he doesn't get quite out to the fairway for, but we'll see if maybe from there he can get up to the basket.
Yeah,
Kind of fighting through.
Good advancement there from Paul. It's like he should be able to scramble from there.
And here's, David's second shot, not trying to bite off too much. And I commend him because a lot of players will go for that kind of makeup, that hero shot, because they're out of position and still want to try and get the birdie. But he just plays it out into the middle of the fairway and is hoping to get up and down for his par. And Ilkin putting himself in great position for the birdie.
Yeah, that's a great pair of shots from him. We can see Zach's drive just squares up this hallway perfect. He's going to be looking to take advantage of this one.
I like to think about drives and just how perfect they are when I'm thinking in my head, oh, I could get up and down from here. That's easy. That's when you know a good drive was thrown, is when I'm confident in my skills to complete it from there.
And we can see this green from the backside there, the knoll that it sits on. Paul's still looking to scramble. Has a nice window out there and makes a nice forehand shot up to the basket. He'll be able to save his par from there. Oh, and after a great pair of shots, Zach's rewarded with a birdie. As we know, birdie's very difficult to find out here on the Toboggan, so anytime you can capitalize and make a couple of great shots, you feel really good.
Oh, and what doesn't feel good? The quick release, the perfect putt, and somehow that comes back out. Lots of credit for Ilkin for taking it so well, but that's a heartbreaker. He threw two perfect shots. Well, he threw three perfect shots, and the basket just didn't want to do the work.
Wow, you see that so rarely on these Chain Star Pros. They catch so well. That's a big surprise. And Paul cleaning up. This card playing that hole extremely well.
I was also thinking about this card, and the combined age of all four players, I don't think reaches 80. So pretty incredible as they move over to hole number 8 at 500 feet.
Yeah, 500 feet, as you said, the players want to get out into the left here. That pine tree on the right is what you really want to get wide of so that you can have a nice approach shot that you can swing left to right up the hill into this basket.
And it almost looked like he was going to hit the cheater route, the path less traveled.
Yeah, this tee shot can be quite intimidating as you're standing there. I think maybe at your home course it feels a lot more manageable, but here you are on the Toboggan at an AM major. Becomes a little bit more daunting. And a low shot.
Go ahead, sorry.
It skips out, but he catches a late branch there.
Maybe he was watching round 1 coverage of Gary and his effort here, playing the skip. And speaking of the coverage real quick, thank you, first of all, of course, Wes, for the assist. Thank you to Gatekeeper and the PDGA for entrusting and contracting to have the Disc Golf Guy channel come partner up for this weekend's coverage, and Crew 42, who also came in huge with some coverage as well as our drone preview. So I wanted to get those big shout outs in. So thank you guys.
Yeah, we see hole 8 is one of the few holes on the course that is playing just under par at 3.97. And wow, a really big forehand from Zach. You could see him lean into that one. And a great result.
You're seeing the wind aid from left to right. That actually can help on the second shot, depending on the angle you're putting on the disc. And that's going to put him in range for a look inside the circle.
All with a good drive as well. A beautiful pan on that, and he'll be looking at the basket.
Easy to underestimate how hard you need to throw this. You know, they're talking about less than 300 feet to the pin. Clearly plays way more.
Oh, and a nice stepper from Ilkin for the birdie.
And that's got to feel good coming back, you know, erasing, having that short memory of the previous hole, putting it right on the pole again and walking away with a birdie. I believe that's the first birdie that coverage has seen. All right, we'll double it. Good answer from Paul.
Absolutely.
Keeping this battle strong.
Interesting point, as you said, too, with the power that you need to get up here. We see all of our players coming up a little bit short. It is a very demanding angle around that pine tree as well, which I'm sure plays into it. But a good note for future rounds.
And I'm going to say I feel like that's the first time we've seen Zach's putter touch the ground. It's been so consistent. See if David could get something going, trying to pick up his first birdie.
Oh, and just off the mark.
Not quite a solid for David here on the green today. He's definitely missed some opportunities.
See him gather himself and pick up the par. The same for Zach here.
And I believe Zach, the only one without a relative on the bag. Both Ilkin and Paul have their dads on the bag, and on the bag for David, I believe, is his mom. So awesome to see this love and support out here as we move into our final hole of the front nine, a redesign. It's not the, Plinko or the poke and hope hole.
Yeah, he used to throw over the big tree to kind of the Plinko section with the basket on a hill. This one's been redesigned. A little bit straighter shot, but you still have quite the distance to carry, which is obviously a feature of the Toboggan out here.
Oh, and what a great tree. Normally you wouldn't say that, but after getting the skip, it was going to carry down into the left side, all the way down the hill probably, and that tree just stopped it in its tracks. Little reset from Ilkin, and looks like he maybe needed another one.
Yeah, he's gonna be down that hill. He is still basket height though. I mean, he chewed off a lot of distance. I feel like he'll have a good chance to scramble from there.
Doesn't get the hat grab. That's pushing left. Thinking about this previous tee shot, here in 2022, we're going to have to update the Plinko reference. Pretty soon people will have no idea of the game show reference that's from, that's been around for 60 or 70 years. I feel like there's going to have to be a new 2022 version. That's going to be your homework, Wes. We need a new reference. As we're seeing David push down, it looks like he's going to be about mid-hillside. And again, one of the many spotters out there doing work.
Yeah, I think that's one of the real challenges of this hole is to get something that kind of flips to flat and doesn't necessarily finish left. We see several of our competitors kind of finishing left there, maybe needing something in their bag that just kind of flips to flat to keep them a little closer to the basket.
And that's a solid approach. Spoiler alert, I heard of conversations about often just behind the basket there, possibly seeing a longer pin position come D-glow time. Those are just some rumors I'm going to start.
Yeah, with Heinold at the helm, you just never know. And here is Paul's tee shot where he caught that tree just as he mentioned. Oh, and can't quite capitalize.
Yeah, from circle 2. Tough to temper yourself, just knowing that it's easy for something to get up away from you here.
Yeah, hole 9 played just over par at 0.17 over par on the day. Par, a very common score.
I was just thinking there's probably not a ton of bogeys, but there also probably wasn't that many birdies. So I could see most of the field walking away with a par here. And speaking of walking away, we're going to be closing things out here pretty soon. We're seeing this great battle unfold. You see mostly green and grays, which is certainly good. You guys will be taking to an even more hilly. I know that sounds crazy, but there's even more hills on the backside of this course. Holes 10 through 18. And at this point, we are exactly halfway through this major at the 2022 United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships. Your leader at the moment is Zachary. Ilkin right behind him. Paul's hanging in there. David struggling a little bit at 1 over par. We take a quick look at the overall leaderboard through 9. Wes, thanks for joining. Looking forward to seeing you on the back.